So whether you are a lawn care expert or brand new to this world, one of the most important skills that you can have in lawn care is the ability to prevent and control weeds without negatively impacting your existing turf. You don't want to have to just go kill your lawn just to kill your weeds. So today I'm going to walk you through my spring routine to make sure that my lawn stays weed-free all year round. So step number one for me in my spring lawn care routine is just to give my lawn a fresh cut. You're not gonna be able to cut your lawn for about a week or so once you start this process. So give it a good cut, wait 2 to 3 days, and move on to step number two. That's gonna do a couple things. Number one, that's gonna help promote growth in your grass, but also gonna help promote growth and send out new leaflets on those leaves that you're trying to kill. You want everything in this stage to be in an actively growing stage. And by cutting your lawn, you're gonna help promote that. So real quick, before we dive into this video, I put out a video about 2 months ago going through my early spring lawn care routine, basically talking about putting down my pre-emergent. It was my biggest video I've ever had. Like 250,000 people watched it. I like nearly pooped myself when I saw the YouTube analytics on it. I kept refreshing and refreshing. I was like, this has to be some glitch, but it wasn't. So really excited about that. But the number one question that I got out of that video, and I'm still getting it to this day, is it too late for me to do this? Is it too late for me to put down my pre-emergent? The answer is no, it's definitely not too late. Though you may have missed the window on the first 20 to 30% of your weeds, if you go ahead and put down the pre-emergent now, it's just gonna prevent that 20 to 30% from taking over the rest of your lawn. Weeds don't just all of a sudden germinate all of them at once. It kind of happens in a progression. They spread their seeds, those seeds germinate, and so on and so forth. So if you put it down now, you're just gonna prevent the situation from getting worse. Step number two in my spring lawn care routine has an asterisk next to it because some of you may have already done this already, but if you haven't and you live in the cool season zone or transitional zone, I'll throw a map right up here and you can see exactly where you fit in there. But if you live in one of those two zones, go ahead and still put down your pre-emergent if you haven't done it already. And again, the pre-emergent that I really like is Barricade by the Andersons. This year I'm following the Andersons lawn program schedule, so you might be a little late to jump on the first application of that. I wouldn't recommend doing that now, but you can get away with putting down the Barricade now along with the other steps. You haven't missed the mark on that. Again, I talked about that a little bit earlier. You might have missed like the first 20 to 30% of the weeds, but you're gonna prevent that situation from getting worse. So go ahead and put down the Barricade now. And then step number three for me in my routine, this again is kind of specific to me. You definitely don't have to do this step, but I'm trying to improve the overall quality of my soil. That does a few things for me. Number one, it's just good for your grass to have good quality soil, but it also enables me to be less dependent on fertilizers and different amendments or things that I'm putting on my soil, because if I go out of town for 2 weeks and I miss my spring like window on when I should be putting down fertilizers, or even in the summer, man, you can really tell with my lawn, it goes from like looking great to looking not so good really, really quick. So some of the things that I'm putting down in step number three really help prevent some of those swings when I miss windows. In this step, I'm putting down a blend of humic DG and biochar DG. These are both dispersible granulars, meaning they kind of explode when you hit them with water. They kind of look like little black pellets like that. If you can see that on there, I hope you can. But basically, once you put it down and then you hit it with water, it completely disappears and just soaks down into your soil. So the humic is like a humic acid. It's OMRI listed, so it's for organic purposes. You can like rest assured that this is gonna be fine for your lawn. It's not gonna hurt you or your animals or anything like that, but it's a soil amendment, basically like conditioner for your hair. It just like helps improve the overall health of it. And then immediately after putting down that humic acid, I'll roll back around with a biochar DG. Biochar is really cool because they figured out that like these ancient civilizations used charcoal from like burnt trees and stuff like that to amend their soil and make it really, really nutrient dense. So what carbon does, or like burnt wood, basically they pelletize this into small little pellets, and again, it disperses, but it acts like a tiny little sponge that has holes all in it that holds onto moisture and your fertilizers and the different amendments that you put on your lawn throughout the year. Just holds on to all that so that, you know, if a big gully washer comes along and washes, you know, your fertilizers or whatever you put on down, some of it is going to be held up in those molecules and be released at a later date. It helps just hold on to things in your soil. So that's what I do. Again, that one's got an asterisk. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. So guys, before we move on to the next step in this process, if you're looking for a PhD or a masterclass on different seeds, soil compositions, fertilizers, and things like that, probably not your guy. There's tons of great resources on YouTube for that, like Ryan Knorr, GCI Turf, Lawn Care Nut, people like that that really go into the super granular detail on things that I can recommend for you. I'll throw their links in the description of this video. But for me and my channel, I've always tried to keep it kind of high level. This is exactly what I do when I do it and somewhat why I do it. So if you're cool with that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, maybe throw a like button. If you got any questions or want a little bit more clarity on anything that I can do, I can get down with some of the technicality in the comment section. So definitely don't hesitate to throw it in the comment section. Step number 4 in my spring lawn care routine, if you've been following my channel at all, you know that this spring in particular, I'm following the lawn program by the Andersons, and it calls for a weed and feed. It's gonna be a 24-0-16 blend on the feed portion. That 24% nitrogen is going to be comprised of 17% like fast releasing and then a 7% polymer coated urea. So that 7% is gonna be a slow releasing, so it's gonna feed your lawn throughout spring. You're gonna get that initial pop from that 17% fast releasing of growth and then green, but then the next portion is gonna continue to feed throughout the lawn. And then that 16% on there is the potash, which help really, at this stage, you can expect your lawn to be a little bit wetter. You know, those spring rains has the potential to increase fungus in your grass and things like that. So that really helps have a healthy turf. And then the weed portion of this is like a 2,4-D in like granular form. So you can get that in liquid or granular form. This is an all-in-one sort of blend right here. So at this stage, I just go around with the hose and wet my grass, all the foliage. I try to get a slightly damp. You don't have to go crazy here, but that does two things. If you did step number 3, that helps those dispersible granulars disperse, but then also it helps to add a little bit of tact for these granulars to stick on the foliage of the grass blade. Make sure that at this stage that your grass is a little bit wet, but also at this stage, give it some time. Make sure that you don't have rain in your forecast in the next 24 to 48 hours when you put this down. And then also with this step, I've completely forgot to mention, be very careful about not getting this on desirable plants. This will kill weeds, it'll bypass grass, it won't kill the turf grass that you want, but you know, plants and things like that, you really need to be careful that you don't get this on the foliage of those plants. The Yard Star has a setting that you can adjust to make it only broadcast on one side, and then the Scott's broadcast spreader has the same functionality. Really be careful here. I'd hate for you to lose your landscaping bushes, gosh. And the next step in my routine is really an insurance policy. Anything that made it through the pre-emergent barrier and made it through that post-emergent first application of that granular 2,4-D, I like to come 2 weeks later and put down this Spectracide weed stop with crabgrass preventer. I like this because I struggle with crabgrass in my area at times, so anything that made it through those first 2 applications should be taken care of with this final application. Again, I like to do this about 2 weeks after I put down the weed and feed. You want to make sure that you're not expecting any rain in the next 24 to 48 hours with this. You want this to dry on your weeds. Again, this is one of those things that's not going to hurt your turf, but it is going to hopefully take care of those weeds. And to apply it, it kind of fans out on its own, and then you just walk over your turf like this, just maybe slightly overlapping a little bit, but not too much. Because you already put down some 2,4-D with the granule application, you don't want to put too much of that down on your turf. But that application plus this application should take care of any weeds that you have. You might have to put down another post-emergent later on in the summer, and I'll definitely make some videos for you guys too to walk you through some subsequent applications of post-emergent. And you'd think after all that hard work, I mean, busted my dang butt over this lawn, that'd be enough to win Yard of the Month, but here we are, 3.5 years later, still haven't won it. Seriously, I'll drive home from work and there's tons of houses in my neighborhood, and they put a little placard. Whoever is running this thing puts a little placard in your lawn that says Yard of the Month. I mean, guys, what more do you want? At this point, I don't even know if I'd want to win Yard of the Month, but truthfully, I would want to win Yard of the Month, just for my own ego.
I wanted the Hall of Fame real bad.
You know, I'm still waiting. I still am kind of starting to think that there might be a conspiracy, something weird going on, but we're still waiting, we're still working. Hopefully someday I'll win Yard of the Month. I'll keep you guys updated. Guys, thanks so much for checking out this week's video. Again, having an absolute blast with you guys. There's tons of reoccurring names in the comment section that I like to be able to converse back and forth with, so that's been really fun. I'm having an absolute blast with this. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to throw it in the comment section. I'll get to them ASAP as possible. And if you found this video interesting at all, I spent $1,000 on a new mower, so I'll link this video right here if you want to check it out. Again, $1,000 on a mower. Is it worth it? I don't know. Let's find out. Until next time, keep cutting. Peace.